Welcome,
This
everyone.
conference will now
My
be
name is
recorded.
Melinda Bourgeois, and I'm here in Travel Central. And today we have an incredible presentation, Alaska and the Yukon. I've been to Alaska 6 times, and I would go multiple times more. It is that great of a destination. But we're very fortunate today to also to have on with us is Kristen with Holland America Line, who not only has been working with Holland America for about 15 years, but she actually worked on the ships in Alaska for several summers. So she is definitely an expert in the presentation and we're able to share some great ideas with you today. So, with that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Travel Central, and then we'll get straight started on Holland America and Alaska and talk about a fabulous opportunity in 2024 to not only go to Alaska, but go to the Yukon, which is actually in Canada. First of all, those who are not familiar with Travel Central has been in business since 1988. We've been helping travelers travel around the entire world. Our only goal is you have one dedicated advisor who's going to listen to you and understand your travel needs and type from the moment you call us to plan your trip all the way to your return home to make sure that your vacation is as seamless and stress free as possible. Again, and the great news is because we're part of Signature Travel Network, a large network with over 200 agencies, we're actually able to offer some exclusive amenities and benefits. And today we'll talk about some that we have exclusively for Alaska with Holland America. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our expert on the call today, Kristen with Holland America, and she will talk a little bit about Holland America and then go on to Alaska and all the different things there. So thank you for joining us. And if you have questions, please just put it in the chat box and we'll answer those questions either during the presentation or at the end. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Melinda, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all so much for being here. I am very grateful and always very excited to be discussing Holland America and the Alaska adventure that we offer to our guests. Just kind of a little bit about me. I do, like Melinda's mentioned, have a background with Holland America. I sailed on board her for 12 years all over the world. And I was in Alaska every summer from April until October. And really, I always looked forward to those summers in Alaska and being able to experience that wonderful state and all it contains. And I'm really proud to be showcasing our product there. We are actually celebrating many milestones this year. One of them is our 150th anniversary. We are the second oldest cruise line in the world, which means we have a lot of experience and we brought a lot of the innovations and the programming that you see in a lot of cruise ships. We were one of the first to actually invent those concepts with Holland America. So we have just celebrated on April 18th, actually the 150th year that we have been sailing guests around the world. And if you're not familiar with Holland America, a few things that we like to kind of mention that really apply to the guests that enjoy the experience on board. One is those that we are for explorers. We are really enjoyed by those guests who want to go to a destination, not only in Alaska, but anywhere on the other 6 continents in the world, and really dive into the culture, the food, the wildlife, the history of those places to really gather those experiences that will last a lifetime. And of course, our food. Food is an essential part of traveling, and we really integrate that into our menus and our offerings. We are the only sustainably local seafood local provider in Alaska. All of our seafood actually that we have there, from our Dungeness crab to our halibut to our salmon, is actually sourced locally and sustainably raised. So we're very proud of those features that we have in our culinary repertoire. We are also music lovers, people that want to come on and have a great time and listening to live music, not just DJs, but live bands, whether it's the BB Kings, Lincoln Center Stage, dueling pianos, or even jazz and the classic American songbook. We offer all of those every single day during our cruises that our guests enjoy. But one thing that brings our guests back and back again is our wonderfully renowned service. We have an amazing crew who is just happy that you are there. They want you to experience the best of relaxation and comfort and also provide the best service at sea. And one of the things that all our guests also really appreciate is our timeless ship design. you are able to really enjoy being on a cruise ship. We make our cruise ships so that they're able to really gather in the experiences of Alaska or the Panama Canal or the Norwegian fjords. We have wraparound decks. We have actually you can be able to go up to the very top deck or the very front of the deck. We open up those areas to our guests to be able to enjoy those. And we have different areas on the ships where you can be, in and amongst your fellow passengers, or little nooks and crannies that you can be up by yourself and enjoy a good book outside of your stateroom. Now, we are, like we like to say, are Alaska. We have been in Alaska for 75 years, longer than any other cruise line, longer than Alaska has actually been a state. We have more sailings in Glacier Bay than any other cruise line. We are also one of the only providers that will actually take our guests to the Yukon. We also have a wonderful program and a lodge up in Denali, the national park, which we'll be discussing earlier. We have onboard experiences that we partner with the Native Huna, the Tlingit, and the National Park Rangers that add an extra level of expertise and firsthand experience to your adventures in Alaska. And we are also the only ones that go above the Arctic Circle for the summer solstice with our new and unique cruises that include a 28-day round trip up past Nome and round trip Seattle. And our excursions, we work with the best local providers for safe and very well valued, as well as those excursions that get you right up close to the destinations. So in Alaska specifically, we have three distinct offerings. We have a beautiful Alaska cruise, which can go anywhere between 7 days to 28 days. We have the Denali experience, which includes a cruise and Denali. And then, of course, what I mentioned, the exclusive Yukon. So that includes both the Canadian Yukon, for those that are interested in the gold rush history and the rural uniqueness of that land. Then we have the Denali interior of Alaska, as well as adding on to that cruise experience. You get a really, if you're going to be doing a one and done of Alaska, that is really the cruise that I recommend. Like I mentioned, we have been in Alaska since 1947, so a lot of what you're going to see is unique to us. For example, the permits, the grandfathered rights in where we dock, those are what really distinguish us. And what is very important is also knowing that that is going to save you a lot of time. Because when you're in Alaska, you want to experience so much. You don't want to have to wait in lines to get off the ship or get on a bus or on a tender, things like that. We dock right downtown at the ports of call. We have our own rail cars that will take you to Denali National Park. We take a private plane transfer to get you into the Yukon. So we really have all of this infrastructure and people that have this amazing background that's going to give you really a superb experience with us. So let's first talk about Alaska cruises. Like I mentioned, Glacier Bay is a huge draw. Only 2 cruise ships a day can go into Glacier Bay National Park, and we are either one or both of them because of the permitting factor that we have. It is an 8-hour, gorgeous, incomparable experience that you're going to be experiencing not only with your fellow passengers, but with the Native Huna and Tlingit tribe members and the National Park Rangers that come on to do wonderful presentations and very firsthand experiences and narrations as you go through that, to see the wildlife and to hopefully see some of the calving glacier that we have there. We do have a 7-day round trip out of Vancouver and multiple other ones. This is just to kind of give you a great idea. If you're thinking about a 7-day cruise, Vancouver is an especially wonderful thing to think about because that itinerary includes the Inside Passage. It's a very fjord-like all-day experience. It has a beautiful wildlife opportunities with pods of orcas and porpoises. Then you have the Ketchikan, the salmon capital of Alaska, Skagway, that kind of trailhead to the Yukon. Then you have a long day in Juneau and then a full day in Glacier Bay. So this is one of the ones that I was always really happy to be on when I was sailing on the cruise ships. And then we also have Seattle, really easier to get to. That does include a late night docking in Victoria for the Bouchard Gardens. It also goes to Sitka, which is one of the more rare docks, rare ports that we go to. It's a very kind of live-in town. It has great wildlife offerings, including lots of otter families that go there that you can be able to have excursions to. And it also includes Icy Strait Point, that is a native port that they have built up, and also includes one of the longest zip lines in North America. And our ships that sail here do run between 1,400 passengers from the Volendam to the 2,100 passengers of the Koningsdam. If you are thinking about, a 7-day cruise, and especially if you're thinking with family, I would highly recommend the Koningsdam. It is our largest ship, which has a great kids program. It also has the most entertainment and dining venues. But of course, my favorites were always the smaller ships because they could get into those smaller ports. They could also have that really great intimacy and comfortability factor that you get on smaller vessels. We do have those prime docking locations like I mentioned. This is a map of Ketchikan. You can see where it says Howrah at the bottom. That's where we dock. Many of the other larger cruise lines will actually dock about 8 miles from town, which not only means that you have to wait in line to get off the ship, you also have to wait in line to get on the bus and then take the 20-minute ride downtown to where the shore excursions and all the action is. We dock right downtown. You get off, you're in Ketchikan, a couple of minute walks from Creek Street from there to experience the history of that town, as well as starting your salmon tastings that you can be able to experience as those different salmon stores that you have around town. We also have a great docking in Juneau. And so we dock right downtown next to the Juneau Tramway, which is a tramway that takes you up to Mount Roberts. It's a great walk also around town to the governor's mansion or the Alaska State Capitol, but there's also going to be the shore excursion pickups, which takes you off to Mendenhall Glacier or all of your other experiences. Really a great opportunity to fly off to some glaciers from here and do some salmon bakes. That's some of my favorite things to do in Juneau. But Juneau is also the whale watching capital of Alaska, and they have excursions here to where if you don't see a whale, you get 100% of your money back because the whales are just everywhere. It's a great feeding ground. So you see a lot of humpback whales, especially in the Juneau area. And again, we want that immersive perspective of that Alaska. And you're going to see this not only in Alaska, but if you go to Australia with us, or if you go to Asia or Canada, New England, we have specific programming that help to enhance your overall journey. So we call this in Alaska Up Close. And you're going to see things like the Iditarod. You're going to learn more about whales. We have a naturalist on board who has wildlife spotting. We learn more in depth about the natives and their history and their culture and religion. And you're going to also enjoy all of that along with the entertainment, the dining. For me, I could never have enough salmon. You can have salmon for breakfast, lunch, and dinner there if you wanted to. So you're really going to get this immersive experience from all activities, day and night here. And those entertainment, like I mentioned, it's going to be a really great factor because when you're off, enjoying the ports all day, you're experiencing as much as possible. You're going to come back on and we're going to have great shows for you. We're going to have some great, some great music, or if you just want to curl up in your bed when you get back and watch some on-demand videos, you're going to be able to do that as well. I did mention that we do have that Alaska Certified Sustainable Seafood. We are the only cruise line that does have that. And it is a very point of pride with this. And this is one of our, Ethan Stoll, he is one of our celebrity chefs that helps us to create these amazing menus, specifically the Pacific Northwest items that we have. And one thing that not a lot of people know about, we are actually the official sponsors of the Pickleball Association of America. So for those of you who are really great pickleballers, on those sea days especially, you want to stay active, but you also want to be outside, we do have really great pickleball courts on all of our ships. This is a map that we have that I'm kind of giving you a little bit of an area. Of course, Alaska, if you stretched it out, just Alaska, it would go all the way from the Carolinas to Arizona and Wyoming. It is that big. And I'm from Texas. So when I'm up in Alaska and I say I'm from Texas, they're always like, oh, well, they're bigger than you. As always, they're coming back to hearing from Texas. Like, yes, yes, you are. But we think we have a few more people. But with Alaska, the point of where the cruises go is only about 1% of the entirety of the state. So I always say if you're going to go all the way up to Alaska, get into the interior, explore the other aspects, because you do have the opportunities to see the unique wildlife that's in there, especially with the marine animals. But getting into Denali, especially seeing the bears, the moose, the reindeer, the Dall sheep, is part of an essential Alaska journey. And we will be able to take you there in an adventurous style and comfortability, but also into the Yukon. So we'll discuss a few of those options right now. We have for the Alaska cruise tours, and you can see there is the Denali mountain that we have there that you'll be able to have multiple opportunities to hopefully see along these cruise tours. So Denali National Park is actually 6 million acres. It is larger than 3 of our smallest states combined, and we are able to get you there through multiple different options. And one great thing about Holland is that we have different links of cruise tours, and they can also include 7-day cruises, or they can include 3 or 4 day of cruises. You can do mostly land. So these will range in between 10 days to 18 days, depending upon how much time you have. And I always say with Alaska, especially, go when you have the most time that you can experience everything that you want to. And with how do we get you to Denali National Park? Well, we have our own train cars. We also have a contract with the Alaska National Railway, so we actually are able to get you there in a lot of time because we are prioritized over other train lines. So other companies may have to actually stop and start and stop and start, but we take you all the way from either Anchorage to Denali, or Denali to Anchorage, or even to the ship in Whittier, depending upon which experience you decide you would like to go to. So this is a luxury scenic rail travel, about 8 to 9 hours, depending upon what they see. You are able to have lunch on board. And that's going to be locally sourced regional dishes as well. Even if you wanted to try a reindeer burrito for your breakfast, you can be able to do that. And this is going to be a 180-degree dome, so it doesn't matter which side that you sit on. And the glass is actually made by Kodak, so it's glare free, and it doesn't have that infrared heat either. So you're not going to get hot by the glare of the heat if it's really sunny out there. So it's a really comfortable ride all the way through. And you also will have a conductor that was going to explain a lot of what you're seeing, and also be wildlife spotting for you. So just some images of some of the railway that you'll hopefully be able to see, especially if it's a nice day out. Now, when you get to Denali, we have our McKinley Chalet. McKinley Chalet Resort is right on the Nanina River. It is surrounded by the different accommodations, as well as the centered around the Denali Square. As you can see right here in the middle is the entertainment hub. We have music. We have informational lectures by National Park Rangers. We have puppies in the park, so the local Iditarod and the local kennels will come out and they'll bring their puppies and their dogs out. And then we also have our restaurant and shopping here. Now, this is not the actual lodge itself. This is just one of their entertainment hub where you have fire pits and can be able to enjoy your evenings and even your early mornings. When you're here in the summer, it doesn't get dark until sometimes midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes, because of the and especially around the solstice time. And your Denali experience will also include a tundra wilderness tour, and that's on any 2 to 3 nights. And that's going to be a 5 to 7 hour tour in Denali with our National Park Ranger service. We go as far into Denali as anyone can be able to go. And I just want to share with you this little video to give you a better perspective of your options in McKinley Chalet Resort. Alaska has a rich history. People came here to explore, to strike rich, and they came from all over the world. That sense of adventure, not knowing really what they were going to find. It's kind of what we have here at the McKinley Chalet Resort in Denali Square. My name is Tracy Smith. I'm the general manager at the McKinley Chalet Resort here in Denali National Park. The McKinley Chalet Resort is located just about a mile from the entrance of Denali National Park. And within McKinley Chalet Resort, we have this amazing area called Denali Square. The whole thought behind it was Holland America Lion wanted to create a gathering place. Down here, you look around, you feel like you're a part of Alaska. You're looking up at Mount Healy, the trees are surrounding you. It's just a different feeling than anywhere else. My parents moved to Alaska a week after I graduated from high school, and I ended up coming up for an entire summer, and I got a job working on board the train. I didn't know what I was in for when I started that summer job 20 years ago. I just remember that first day of getting on that train and traveling through the Alaska wilderness, interacting with all these people that just were so in love with this place. Making those connections is what drives me. Cruisers on Holland America Line from all over the world come to Denali for that Alaska experience. And I have this opportunity to live here and share it with you. And I love to hear those stories, to know that what we've been working on for months and months is actually working. I love when the music's playing, the fires are going, and people are dancing. I mean, that's vacation to me, and I just think it's different than other places, and it's special. All right, who's ready to go? So I just wanted to show you some imagery of the of our McKinley Chalet. This is one of the staterooms that we have in McKinley Chalet. This is one of our Denali Junior Suites. And you can see that it actually has a balcony. The floors are heated in the bathroom. It has Wi-Fi, and that is going to actually be your view. And you see the little cabins down there. We do have other very well appointed staterooms that are going to be there and as well that have a beautiful view of the Nanana River. And one of my favorite portions of the day is always being able to play with the pups that are brought to us from the local kennels around Denali. Here is the entrance in the top right-hand corner. That's going to be the sitting room and the bedroom of those cabins that you saw. Very well appointed, very comfortable. So that great view of the river. You see here is one of the walking trails that you can be able to take, the s'more options and the fire pits at night, as well as the great lectures and nature walks that are provided by the local park rangers. This is a part of the Tundra Wilderness Tour that you can be able to see, and that purple area is where you're going to be able to go with us. The blue area is where you'll go a lot of times with the other offerings that are in and around Denali. But we go the farthest that you can be able to see the best bear viewing, as well as hopefully you'll be able to see the moose. And if you go earlier in the year, May and June, you do have a chance to see a lot of the babies because that's when they come out out and about. So these are the big five of Denali National Park. You got the moose, the Dall sheep. Funny fact, National Park of Denali was actually created for those Dall sheep. Then you have the caribou or the reindeer, the very unique wolf. It's they are there. There's about 8,000 individuals in that, but they're really a lot more rare to see, but they have been seen before. And then you have the grizzly, which is a lot more, you're much more apt to see that, especially when they're out and about with their babies in May and June. So let's talk about the Denali and the Yukon experience. So you can be able to do Denali 2 to 3 days and then do a 7-day cruise, but the Yukon is really where it gets very unique. So the Yukon does have a number of very big differentiating factors. One is that you have a journey host with you. This journey host is going to travel with you, and they're going to help assist you along the way and provide really great information. A lot of times these guides have actually lived in Alaska for many years. And they're going to be really there to assist you and to answer any questions that you may have. So from here, you're also going to see this is some of the Yukon information. And all of our Yukon tours do include the McKinley Explorer, as well as shuttling in luxury motor coaches. So you're not going to be in a normal coach at all. These are luxury coaches around here. This is an example of this is actually an 11 days. going to from Vancouver all the way to Anchorage. You're experiencing a little bit of cruising. You're experiencing the Yukon as well as Denali and McKinley Chalet and the McKinley Explorer Rail. Again, some gorgeous scenery that you can see. Very interesting. Only about 35,000 people live in the Yukon. And so it's very rural. This is where the end of the gold rush was. People would come from Skagway through the Chilkoot Trail and stake their claims. And in Dawson City, you can actually still pay with gold dust because there's a lot of active claims that are still there. And the TV show Gold Rush actually films there still. So you still have a chance to see all the crowd, the cast from there. All of our Yukons will also include the White Pass Railway from Skagway. So you'll actually have an opportunity to go from Skagway or even overnight in Skagway and take this 1898 narrow gauge train into Whitehorse. And from there, start your tour or vice versa, depending upon what you would like. And this is an example right here that you see of the luxury coach that you'll be utilizing to get in and around Whitehorse to Dawson City, but then from Dawson City to Fairbanks or vice versa, we actually do have a chartered flight that takes you to that place. This is Dawson City. This is actually the Westmark, and you can actually see it's not a paved road. This is a dirt road. It's a very rural area. It still has its boardwalk, so it's very unique and very old school. You feel like you're back in the 98 days from there. This is a picture we have of our private transfer that's going to take you to and from Fairbanks and Dawson City, as well as the old school riverboat cruise that you're going to be able to take while y'all are in Fairbanks. So let's talk about some of these great opportunities. We actually have two groups that we have going into Denali and the Yukon as of next year. Now, maybe you can't go next year. Maybe you want to go this year. You want to do something, in May or June. We have a lot of opportunities for that, as well as some promotions. But going with the hosted team member from Travel Central who's going to be able to offer their knowledge and be able to help you enjoy the cruise. That's going to be a really extra fantastic opportunity. Now, Miss Mary here has a 11-day triple Denali that is coming from Anchorage, and then you do 3 days in Denali and then do a 7-day full route from Whittier all the way to Vancouver. So you get the Tundra Wilderness Tour, you get 2 scenic glacier days. So it's going to be the amazing Hubbard Glacier, one of the largest tidewater glaciers in the world, as well as a full day in the superb Glacier Bay National Park. You'll also get the McKinley Explorer. And one thing that's great about groups is that you get extra group amenities. And that could be many different things, but nobody else who's not a part of that group is not going to get those options. So definitely think about that when you are booking, especially if you're looking to book next year. Now, Miss Rachel, though, she is going to the Yukon and Denali June 1st, 2024. And this is a very unique tour. It does include an overnight from Skagway. And you're coming there from Vancouver, so you get that beautiful inside passage. You have the opportunity to go see Trace's Arm, Juneau, which is a collection of glaciers from the Juneau ice field. And then from there, you get off in Skagway and have an overnight. And Skagway is very different at night versus what it is during the day. You're also going to have the White Pass train ride to Whitehorse and then go up to Dawson City. We're going to have 2 days there. And there's lots of options and excursions that you can do in Dawson. Then you have that chartered flight to Fairbanks. And from there, you take a motor coach into Denali National Park. And you're going to have 2 days in Denali, which one of those will be the Tundra Wilderness Tour. And from there, you're going to take the McKinley Explorer to Anchorage with an overnight in Anchorage. So you get to explore the capital of the North from there, and definitely try out. They have a really great ice cream shop there. It's called Wild Rose Ice Cream. Highly recommended. And from there, after that overnight, you'll be leaving from Anchorage. So 2 really superb options. Depends, what is it that you want to see? What is most important to you? With this one, especially if you're haven't really been on a cruise before and you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll just put my toes in the water, this is a great option because it's just 3 days on a cruise, and then the rest of that time is actually exploring by land. So it gives you that really great option to kind of have that little bit of that experience, and then maybe you'd like to do something further down the road with that. Now, what is it that we can be able to showcase here? Well, one thing that we have with Travel Central going for the next 2 weeks, we have exclusive extra onboard credit. So this is anything that is offered on top of what Holland America and Signature is already offering. This is specifically only for booking with Travel Central. So we have everything from any Alaska cruise tours from $50 to $150. So again, that is on top of anything that you would already be receiving. For example, if you're looking to go this year, you can put that onboard credit for a cruise this year, which we are celebrating this year our anniversary sale. So for our 150th anniversary, we're offering up to $150 per person onboard credit, and we're also offering a $150 deposit. But this offer does end May 31st. So this does coincide with that extra onboard credit offering. But if you want to join Rachel, or if you want to join Mary in Alaska, or if you're thinking maybe you want to do the 28-day adventure up to Nome next year, we have another opportunity. You'll get that extra onboard credit, but we also have what's called Have It All. Have It All is basically pre-purchasing amenities at half off rather than purchasing it full price on board. So this includes specialty dining, extra credit specifically for shore excursion, a beverage package, and a Wi-Fi. So what's going to happen if you were to book a cruise experience or a cruise tour, and you book that with the Have It All? You're going to get specialty dining, you're going to get extra onboard credit, but you're also going to get an upgrade to an elite beverage package, which that's 15 drinks a day, under $15, but that doesn't include just alcoholic. It's also specialty coffees, water bottles, pressed juices. It's going to also include smoothies. So anything that you want under $15, you can drink 15 drinks a day. That's great, but for me, I drink 5 coffees a day. It's already paid for if I were to get this. You'll also get our premium Wi-Fi, which is an upgrade from the surf package that you get. You get all your gratuities paid for. So with that, the gratuities can potentially add up depending upon which adventure you select. But if you just decide, hey, I want to do that 28-day cruise, all of those gratuities would be paid for that. So this is a really great offer for those 2024 adventures. Now, if you are thinking that, hey, you know what, I'm looking for this upcoming summer, we do have also kids sail free. If you're looking for something with your family. So we consider guests 18 and under our children. So if they're the third or fourth guest in the stateroom, they do get to sail for free on specific sailings, normally 7 days cruises in and around all over the world, not just Alaska. And we also love to show our appreciation. So we do have a active and retired teachers, educators, and faculty member and staff onboard credit. We also have active and retired and veteran military service members, as well as current first responders and healthcare workers. So make sure if you are going to be able to book with Travel Central, you let them know that you are a part of one of these communities, and we will be able to attach an extra $100 onboard credit as a sign of our appreciation to you and what you do. And with that, I'll bring it over to Miss Melinda.
Wow, Kristen, that was fantastic. I mean, definitely know Alaska. And like I said in the beginning, Alaska is one of my favorite places. The Yukon, my husband always says the Yukon is more beautiful than Alaska. So if you can do both, do it. I used to have one of our reps from Alaska used to always say when we talking about Alaska, the first question that we have to ask is how much time do you have? Because it's that fantastic. We want you there. As long as you can be. Just a final to remind you about Travel Central. We are your ultimate travel resource. Our goal is to be on top of everything in the industry to keep up with whether it is quarantines, or not, luckily none of those going on now, but whether there's anything that's going on in the travel industry, that we keep on top of it to make sure you're getting the best service possible. I did check our chat box. I didn't see any questions. If you have any questions, please shoot them out now in the chat box. I will be sending out an email tomorrow with the recording of this video as well as some of the specials that Kristen went over today. So we thank you for joining us today. We hope that you learned a lot about Alaska. We do have some real Alaska experts here in the office. Like I said, myself have been there 7 times. Happy to help you. I also know that 2 people on the call today are with our office is Jerry and Marianne. And again, both Alaska experts. Looking forward to helping you plan your perfect vacation. So thank you for joining us today. Bye bye now.